Okay, sorry, my dog was like peeing on the tree. Seriously? Everybody can't come outside while I'm doing this. Alright, hey guys, so today I am filling a request of doing a vinyl review. And at first I filmed a very long video about multiple albums at a time, which is kind of a bad idea. This time I'm just doing one album. I'm going to do a track-by-track review. That way I can go into as much detail as I want. And yeah, if you're wondering about the change in location right now, I'm in a tree fort because the lighting out here is actually decent instead of in my room. So yeah. Today I decided to go with a classic and a favorite of everybody's, which is The Dark Side of the Moon by Pink Floyd. It's a great album, so I'm going to talk about each song on here and what it means to me. And keep in mind that everybody can have different views, so mine might be different than yours. The first song on this album is called Speak to Me. It's actually a really good opening number. It foreshadows what happens on the entire album because you can hear all the different sound effects and noises from other songs on this album. If it's your first time listening, you wouldn't know that, but if it's not, then you would. It's really great. It kind of mentally prepares you for what's going to happen when you listen to this. And it has like a constant heartbeat going in the background, which is kind of creepy, but it's cool. This one kind of, I don't know, it's the first that shows how much foreshadowing will go on during this album. There's a lot of foreshadowing. And then, number 2 is Breathe. Breathe is another example of foreshadowing because there's a reprise of Breathe in a later track. But this one is really, really great. It has a lot of deep lyrics. This one's kind of short. I don't listen to this one a lot. I should because it's really great, but I think Breathe mainly describes like, you know, this album's gonna be about someone's life and how they use their time and, you know, how your life really depends on how you use your time. If that makes sense. Like, you know, if you waste your time, you're gonna, like it says in here, you race toward an early grave. So, yeah, kind of depressing, but more foreshadowing. So, okay, on to the next one. It's called On the Run. This is another instrumental. It's kind of weird because, I don't know, like, there's no actual lyrics to it, but there are people talking and laughing, and it's kind of weird. But I like it because, you know, in the beginning, it kind of gets you pumped. It makes me feel like I'm about to run a race or win a Mario Kart championship or something. Like, that's just what I think about when I listen to this song. It kind of gets me going. And if I exercised, because I don't, but if I did, I would jog to this song. And then, you know, there are like really creepy sound effects in there, like evil laughter and all that, which gives you all the more reason to be running. Number 4 is Time, which is one of Pink Floyd's staple tracks, definitely the biggest one on the album. Everybody knows this, hopefully. Okay, this is one of my favorite Pink Floyd songs of all time. This song is multi-layered and full of lyrics that make you contemplate about everything. It talks about, you know, this person, he's wasting his time, and then he starts running out and he wants it back, but you know, time you can't get back. So it gets really depressing, but it's really deep. It's a really great song. And then comes toward the end of the song, the reprise of Breathe, which is actually my favorite part of this song. You know, the tempo changes, it slows down, the key changes, and it gets all mellow again. I think it talks about how this person is basically realizing that his life has come to an end, and he comes to terms with that. The last song on side 1 is number 5, and it's called The Great Gig in the Sky. This one is sort of an instrumental. I mean, it's a piano track. It's beautifully done. It actually inspired me to start playing keyboard along with Ray Manzarek. He's awesome. And then there's also a beautiful vocal solo. Oh my god. There's also an outstanding vocal solo by Clara Torrey. And I think later on she sued the band for rights for this song, which is kind of stupid because I don't know. There are bits and pieces of speech at the beginning of this song I'm pretty sure it was just from like studio members they recorded this from, and they asked them questions about death and life and their opinions on that, and they dubbed them into the song, and it really sets the mood for what the song means. Like the line, I'm not frightened of dying, any time will do, I don't mind. You kind of think, this song is going to be about heaven or the afterlife or something. Yeah, it's a really beautiful number. It makes you think about what could happen when you die. On to side 2, we have a funky jam called Money. The bass line in this song is really recognizable. I think most people have heard the bass line, and there are lots of little like money and cashier sound effects in there, so it kind of sets the mood for the song. To me, this song talks about how there's like a really weird distribution of wealth everywhere. There are like really rich people and people who are struggling to get by, and then, the rich people can do whatever they want with their money, they waste it, and they don't put their money towards things that would actually be useful, like charity or whatever. My favorite line in the song are the ones at the very end. It kind of sums up the entire thing. I might start singing them because, whenever I read the lyrics, I have to sing it like the song. But if you ask for a rise, it's no surprise that they're giving none away. Yeah, can't sing, but yeah, it talks about how money is the root of all evil, and in this case, it is kind of true, especially when you're talking about, wealthy people and the greed that goes on. Number 2 on side 2 is called Us and Them. I really like this song. It's one of my favorites on the album because I have trouble interpreting exactly what it means, so whenever I listen to it, I'm always wondering, is this actually what it means? Do I think something different this time or whatever? But, right now when I think about it, I look at the words and I listen to it, I think it means, there are these 2 guys talking about everything that they went through during the war. I definitely know that there's a connection during the war because it says stuff about the war. But yeah, I think it talks about maybe just 2 friends discussing everything they weathered during the battles they faced together. That's what I think. It might mean something different. It might mean 2 people are arguing or something. I don't know. I kind of want to know what you think about this song because I have no idea. And then number 3 on side 2 is one of my favorites on the album as well. It's an instrumental called Any Color You Like. I really like this song. It's really just, I don't know, it's hard to explain. There's a lot of like synthesizers in there. It makes me think of space and time travel. Like when I listen to it, I imagine that I'm just going through space really slowly. At first, it starts out kind of like extremely mellow, but then at the end, it starts picking up, I think, and it gets more funky, which is kind of cool. That's why I like the song, because it has like 2 different sides to it. Yeah, it's probably one of my favorite Pink Floyd songs, and one of my favorite Pink Floyd instrumentals. Then we have number 4 on side 2, which is Brain Damage. This one, the first time I ever heard it, I used to think it was really weird. But, my theory about this song is that it's about Syd Barrett, which, if you don't know, is a really early on band member. He left because, he started getting really erratic with his drug problems, and he had some mental issues to figure out. I think the song talks about him, and the line that kind of sells it for me is, "And if your head explodes with dark forebodings, then I'll see you on the dark side of the moon." I probably messed that up a little bit. I feel like they kind of subliminally made it about him. I think it's actually kind of sweet. They really miss their friend, and they made a song about it. So I think it's cute. I appreciate this song. And then the last song is called Eclipse. I think this one is kind of like the overall review of the album. Like, it describes basically everything a person can go through in their life, all the memories, just everything. And then at the end, it talks about how the sun is eclipsed by the moon, which leads me to think that the person they're describing is kind of like fading out, and he's forgetting all these memories, which is kind of an appropriate way to end the album, I think. It's like the end of this person, the end of the album. That leads me to believe that this whole thing is just one big concept, which lots of Pink Floyd songs have huge concepts in them. But yeah, this is definitely a great album. I figured I would do this one first because you know, everybody's seen this cover, but not everybody knows what's inside of it, which you should. So, listen to this album. I suggest if you haven't listened to it all the way through, you need to, because it's a beautiful masterpiece and one of my favorites of all time, probably most people's favorites of all time. I would kind of like to do something like this once a week, so I can take requests for any album that I have a physical copy of. Yeah, so if you want to hear what I have to say about other albums, just let me know and I'll do it. So